The new year housing market crash. Will it look something like this? No, we're not talking about drunk drivers crashing into your front of your house. We're talking about something else. And actually, a lot of people are talking about it now. We're going to get into my thoughts on it, but first let's put out the information and some recent reports here. First of all, if you haven't done it already, please hit that like and subscribe button. I continue to get messages about people saying they're not getting notified about the new videos that we put out. So please don't forget to do that. It really helps the channel with your subscriptions and your likes and your when you turn on notifications, that way you don't miss the new reports. Now, we've been seeing a lot more reports like this one here. This is out of Vox. We know how to prevent up to 40 million people from being evicted. It's up to Congress to do it. And I've seen estimates anywhere from 19 million to 25 million to 40 million people that could be facing eviction, right? It's so massive that no one really knows for sure. Now, I'm a little bit more optimistic. There have been a few fools that have called this channel doom and gloom. We're the opposite of that. We prepare for a worst case scenario, but it doesn't mean we're doom and gloom. We hope the worst case doesn't happen, but we on this channel, we are prepared for it. Could we see a massive crisis where 40 million people lose their homes? Absolutely, it's possible. But I think they're going to continue to extend this and try to minimize the damage as long as possible. So that's why I always say prepare for inflation, because if they extend this and they continue to pump out QE to infinity, rescue programs to keep people in their homes, you could likely continue to see real estate increase, even though millions of people, tens of millions of people, are not paying their mortgages and their rents. All right, but to continue in this article, millions of Americans face eviction in a completely predictable and entirely preventable crisis as the moratorium is set to expire on New Year's Eve. Well, that's the thing. Right now it's set to expire, but will something happen between now and then? I expect big announcements, big new programs being implemented here in the last month of 2020. I don't think they're going to let it collapse on the first of the new year. But anything's possible. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'll just read an excerpt out of this article. 7 months into her fight to stay housed, a 48-year-old Kimberly is furious. She says, quote, "I'm angry that people can think so little of human life," unquote. And it continues, after the lockdown recession began, she lost hours at her job as a trainer and found herself on the brink of financial collapse. She fell behind on her rent, and when she tried to work with her landlords to set up a repayment plan, she told us that she was served an eviction notice. Now, the only thing keeping her in her home is the Control and Prevention National Eviction Moratorium, which prohibits landlords from evicting qualifying tenants for failing to make rent. All right, and here's the kicker out of this article. Kimberly isn't alone. According to research by Aspen Institute, nearly 40 million Americans could face eviction over the next several months. The only thing holding back the flood right now is the eviction moratorium under a patchwork of state and local protections for renters. So there you have it. I don't know. It's anyone's guess. On one hand, I say they're going to continue to prop this up because the collapse is going to be really, really devastating, and it's going to be real ugly. But on the other hand, you have to say something's got to give, and something's got to give sooner or later. Is it going to be infinite propping up and moratoriums here? No one has to pay their rent ever? I mean, what is the solution? You guys let me know. I mean, you've heard me say this a lot of times, but I'll say it again. In my opinion, the solution is sound money. Sound money means you cannot inflate these bubbles, the housing market bubble. Right? The housing market bubble bleeds over into rents because more people can't afford homes than they have to rent. The landlords that own these homes, they have higher overhead, so they have to raise their rents. And overall, it's inflation, inflation, inflation everywhere you look. But sound money, you cannot have bubbles. Much more quickly, you'll see the price correction happen when the natural laws of supply and demand are allowed to play out, and that would be done with sound money. All right, so will it be that? Will it be some other transformation of this economic system before the new year? Or will it just be another extension, just another 6 months, another 6 months after that, until eventually most of the population is dependent on some sort of extension or program to keep them in their homes. All right, you guys let me know. All right, speaking of people attempting to keep a roof over their head. This one's out of Politico, a recent article. Here in California, thousands of homeless people could soon be forced out of California hotels. When there was a big dip in tourism and the hospitality industry, a lot of empty hotel rooms sat, and some of them had homeless people using those rooms. And why not? I mean, it was a vacant room. I'm sure some of them left a pretty big mess. But now as we enter winter and dropping temperatures, they're saying here thousands of people could be kicked out of their hotels and back onto the street. So we could likely see a lot more scenes like this one here, where we see this tent city on the side of the road. This is Los Angeles, by the way. And even if you're doing well, maybe your home's even paid off, and you've got good investments, you have to be concerned about this, because where you see desperate people, you also see more crime, and that's not good for anybody. Even if you're doing well right now, you have more desperate people out there, more people want to take what you have, possibly, maybe even break into your home, who knows. So that's why one of the things that I always say too on this channel, one of the points I like to stress is security. Are you secure to protect yourself, your loved ones, and what you've accumulated and your assets? Alright, but let's go over a couple comments that people have left on this channel. One of them has to do with housing. Now, I'm going to start putting more comments into these video reports, because there's a lot of great comments down there. The problem is I just don't have time to usually go through all of them to pick out the really, really good ones, but there's tons of great ones down there. I love all the feedback and comments that you guys leave, and I read as much as possible. And this comment here has to do with housing and the eviction crisis. This one's out of TD, a viewer of this channel. He says the following quote: "I was a Bank of America largest eviction agent. I was Bank of America's largest eviction agent. This app," and he's talking about the app that we reported on a few days ago, where they're hiring people, basically gig workers, to help people, or to help evict people from their homes. But TD continues, "This app will kill people. Evictions are dangerous. Former owners do not go quietly sometimes. I've been shot at multiple times, stabbed, nearly blown up, and that's even before you get into the house filled with hazardous materials, mold, or meth." Absolutely, it does seem like a dangerous job, and it's also got to be heartbreaking to force these people out of their homes. But now it looks like the hotels, they're no longer going to take the overflow from the homeless shelters. California here anyways, according to that recent report. Here's another recent post regarding housing, and this has to do with high home prices, and we know that low mortgage rates are one of the things propping up home prices right now. But Law of Attraction C6 said the following: "Low interest rates are for, let's say, tards, higher property tax, higher mortgage insurance, higher home insurance, higher closing costs. I'd rather pay 10% interest on a $150,000 home than pay 3% interest on a $500,000 home. It's easier to pay off $150,000 than $500,000. I don't understand the tired thinking, and property tax is for life. Pay now or pay for life." Absolutely, I agree with them. I'd rather have 10% interest on a $150,000 home, and then you can pay larger payments and not have to pay such high interest costs in the end, and pay off $150,000. If you make larger payments on a $500,000 home, you're still going to have to pay a long time to pay off that $500,000 versus the $150,000. Right? So it's another example and another breakdown of how people just focus on the monthly payment regardless of the overall principal, regardless of the overall debt and the overall balance that these people are going to be stuck under for decades, and everything else is higher, like the closing costs, the taxes, of course. All right, bubbles are not good. If you're making money from the bubble, that means you're probably a home flipper, or maybe a real estate agent, or someone else involved in the real estate market, maybe a loan officer. So wanted to focus mostly on housing today. I know we've been jumping around to different topics here and there in different videos, but like to hear from you down in the comments. What do you think? The New Year's housing crash? Will the evictions proceed with estimates between 20 and 40 million? Will there just be another extension? Should we brace for carnage? You let me know. Thanks everybody for watching this report. I appreciate you being here, supporting this channel. Hope you stay safe, stay well, stay prepared. Bye for now, everybody. Peace.